In this video, I wanted to take a moment to talk about one affordable way to island hop through the Caribbean. Although cruises are a great option, if you aren't thrilled about being on a tight schedule, I've got just the thing for you: ferry hopping. Now imagine exploring multiple islands without being stuck on a cruise ship timeline. And with ticket prices starting at just 59 euros per trip, this might be the cheapest and most exciting way to see more of the Caribbean for less. So I'm going to share with you the ferry routes that I know about, the current prices, and our experience ferry hopping in the Caribbean, all in this episode of Lucas World Travel. Well, hey world travelers, I'm Kendra Lucas with Lucas World Travel. And David and I spent 6 months island hopping in the Caribbean as digital nomads. Mostly we used cheap flights with Win Air, Caribbean Air, and Inter-Caribbean Air to travel between islands like Aruba, Curacao, and Barbados. However, we were so excited when we were finally able to leave the stress of airport security behind and switch to ferry-based travel. Now you would think the Caribbean would be full of ferries connecting all the islands together, but surprisingly that is not the case. There are 27 main islands, yet there's only 3 major ferry services connecting about 8 of the islands. First, you have the Balleria Caribbean Ferry, which takes you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to 2 of the Bahama Islands, either the Grand Bahama Island or the Bimini Island. But prices for that route start at about $120 to $130 per trip. However, sometimes you can find round-trip tickets for the same, if not less than the ferry, so you always definitely want to price compare whether the Ballerina ferry or the flight option is going to be better in your particular situation. Your second ferry option would be the Great Bay Express, which connects St. Bart's to St. Martin's for as low as $67 USD. So you can fly into St. Bart's and enjoy 2 islands in one trip. And then there's the star of the show, the Express des Iles, which connects 4 amazing islands, including St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, and Guadeloupe. And ticket prices are very reasonable, starting at about 59 euros to 79 euros. Now, what's great about these routes is that you can fly to any of these islands and then hop on the ferry to explore the others. You get to set your own schedule and experience each island as long as you want, instead of squeezing everything into a rush port visit. It's a lot more bang for your buck and more freedom for your travels. Now, we chose the Express des Iles route, and I've got to say it was truly worth it. Since there's only 1 ferry each day though, day trips really aren't an option, so you will need to spend a few nights on each island. Now, because we can work from anywhere, we were lucky enough to spend 1 month in St. Lucia, 1 month in Martinique, 2 weeks in Dominica, and 2 weeks in Guadeloupe. But I'd say spending at least 5 to 7 days per island is a good amount of time to allow. We did find that Martinique is a particularly large island there, so if you allow more time there, that would be helpful. Now, the ferry ride itself is relatively smooth. I do say relatively though, because David is prone to seasickness, and he did feel a little bit woozy on one of the 3 ferry rides we took. But if you're like me and you don't typically get motion sickness, you'll be fine. But pro tip, sit in the middle of the boat if you're worried about motion sickness. It's the area where you're least likely to feel the motion. So now let's talk about some onboard amenities. They do offer light refreshments for sale. Sometimes they have sandwiches, but they do sell out of those pretty quickly. So all you'll have left is like chips and drinks. So I would not count on the snack bar for your main meal. I suggest packing your own food and snacks to keep you covered. And really the rides are only an hour and a half to 2 hours long, so it's not too long of a journey anyway. They also play a movie on board, but it was impossible to hear the audio. Plus, the movie was in French, so it's best to prepare your own entertainment. So download some videos, download a good book, and entertain yourself on the journey. Of course, the ferry has bathrooms on board, and they also have a really nice upper deck where you can get stunning views of the islands as you approach your destination. And there's just something so magical about seeing each island's unique topography as you head to the new island. Now, heads up, even if you buy your tickets online, you'll still need to check in at the terminal, and the lines can get long. We waited for about 45 minutes to check in St. Lucia and in Dominica. The Martinique check-in process was actually pretty quick and easy though. At check-in, you can also check in any big baggage, and the good news is that checked baggage is included in your ticket price, so no extra baggage fees. But you will need to pay port fees separately, which start at around $18 USD per person. Now, when you arrive at each island, you'll need to go through immigration and customs. So make sure you have your passport ready to be stamped. And just like at the airport, be prepared to wait because the lines do get long and it does take some time. So if you're planning to island hop using Express de Iles, here are a few final tips for you. Try to book in advance to snag those lower prices. Also, depending on the season, they have a reduced boat schedule, so they'll have boats every other day as opposed to every day. So it's best to book in advance to make sure there is a ferry scheduled on the day you want to travel. Also, arrive to the ferry prepared with your own snacks and entertainment, as the food options are very limited on board. And if you're prone to seasickness, prepare your motion sickness tablets and sit in the middle of the boat. The boat is reasonably smooth, but rough sea conditions can make the ride a little bumpy. Up next, we're going to share with you our travel tips for Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe. So please like and subscribe to see even more from the Caribbean. And until next time, check out our full Caribbean playlist on the right there. As always, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sharing with all your travel pals. And happy travel planning until next time. Bye.